Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. My salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, who descended on this earth to establish the Dharma, who is the embodiment of all the world religions, and who is the best among the incarnations. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, one chapter that is on Bhava Mukha, we try to understand our few things we discussed, and I'll be going to the second chapter now. A discourse on ecstasy, discourse on samadhi, and discourse on visions, divine visions. This is the chapter name. Now, here, Swami Shardanji is giving the theoretical and philosophical interpretations about the spiritual visions and especially about the samadhi. Why? Because Sri Ramakrishna was in Nirvikalpa Samadhi and he was in Bhava Samadhi. We all, you keep these words hearing from Sri Ramakrishna's life. So, what do they mean? What does it mean? We have to understand. Then only we'll be able to understand, accept, and appreciate Sri Ramakrishna's visions. And also, we'll be able to understand who is really God, who can be called as prophet, who can be called as saint, who can be called as a person, a hypocrite. Because in all the while, either in the earlier days or even the present day, there are so many people in the name of spirituality, they do business or they create a lot of misconceptions. So when you read all these things and when you understand few concepts which has been discussed by Swami Shardananda, then probably these misconceptions can be avoided. Misconceptions about spiritual life, misconceptions about spiritual experience, misconceptions about religion, or the concept of God and prophet or incarnation. For example, probably this will go to the historical link in the 19th century and the 20th century. Especially in the Middle Ages, across the world, there were colonization and they were, attacking each other and trying to rule each other was a common thing. Probably as a reaction to protect their religion, to protect their culture, to protect the society, people got narrowed down. And in getting narrowed down to protect themselves, unnecessary superstitions, unnecessary wrong practices and customs creeped in. Either it is in Hinduism or in Buddhism or in Christianity or in Islam, across the globe, this was the same concept. And apart from that, especially in the Europe and USA, because of the Industrial Revolution, humanity or human beings started thinking, I can do anything and everything. Because of the science and technology, he started thinking, I can do anything and everything. And he started questioning about, questioning is good, no doubt, but negative way, from the negative aspect, he started questioning and undermining the God, religion, in the sense spirituality also. Oh, there is no need of God, there is no need of spirituality for us. And they went to the extent of saying that religion is the opium to the masses. This is one side. The other side, the philosophers, some of the philosophers who were mathematicians, who were the scientists, and they also started reading philosophy out of their inquisitiveness. They had probably a gathering, and they started inquiring and they started discussing. Now, science, physical science, or mathematics, or chemistry, if there is a theory, it is verifiable, it is testified, it is verified, and we accept it. We don't have different understandings, we don't have different concepts or a particular idea or theory. Whereas in religion, there is no similarity. About truth, there are different understandings, different interpretations. Some are similar, some are just opposite. All these so much confusions. Why? They were mathematicians and scientists. They had a best logical minds. They thought we should try to fix this problem. What is it? Philosophical problems. Then, when they started studying and trying to understand the philosophy, somehow they felt the philosophical language has got somewhere ambiguous because it is mystery or esoteric in nature or whatever, but sometimes it is figurative. Because of that, there is a flaw, there is ambiguity in the language. If you set this language properly, then the philosophical problems are different interpretations, different understandings can be controlled to the larger extent. That is what their understanding. As a result, if you see Wittgenstein, he bought a language theory. Rutherford, so many so-called philosophers in those days, they said that we should clarify, we should refine in the language so the philosophical problems or philosophical misunderstandings, misconceptions can be checked. And they started, and at some point of time, they diverted from the main philosophy. And among different schools of philosophy came in, especially in Europe in 19th and 18th century started, 19th and 20th century. There is a one school of philosophy called logical positivism. In the Vienna Circle, it started. So they started telling openly, metaphysics is meaningless. Why? Because it cannot be verified, it cannot be testified. For example, if I tell something in the science and maths, I can prove it. I can show it to anyone and everyone because it is objectifiable and there is objectivity in that. And whereas in the religious experience, it is highly subjective. It is highly subjective. It cannot be verified or it cannot be experimented, unlike science, empirical science experiments. So metaphysics is meaningless and we should shun it off. So this is in the Europe context. And because India was ruled by continuously from foreign invasions, and because of the Indian education system was destroyed very systematically by Britishers, and Indian education system was destroyed, and they introduced their own education system. Because of all these turmoils, even the Indians started doubting about their own wisdom, forefathers' wisdom, about Vedas or Upanishads or Puranas, etc. So one side, the West is thinking about there is no need of religions, spirituality, God. Science is enough. Science is the alpha and omega for life. And whereas in the Asia, because of continuous invasions, they started doubting about their own religion, their own age-old wisdom. So at this crux, Sri Ramakrishna descended on this earth. And what did he do? He made his life as a spiritual laboratory. He started making sadhanas. Whatever the spiritual practices were described in the scriptures, especially from Hinduism point of view, he started following them and he attained that goals and he verified and he testified and he reconfirmed to the public, to the society that the God exists and he can be seen, he can be experienced. And not only that, with Hinduism, in the Islam and Christianity also, he did verify, and he said that all these are the different paths to reach the truth. He's speaking from the philosophical and spiritual aspect. This we have to be very clear. Now he assured a new faith in the God or in the humanity or in the divinity to the entire humankind. That's why Swami Vivekananda beautifully, in one of his hymn, he describes Sri Ramakrishna as Samshaya Rakshasa Nasha Mahastram. With his love, with his divine weapon called love, he killed. He descended on this earth to destroy the great demon called the doubt. Doubt about what? Doubt about the inherent divinity. Doubt about the supreme self. Doubt about the cosmic power. Now, but even Swami Vivekananda himself, during his young days as a young Naren, he himself questioned and he himself doubted about the visions of Sri Ramakrishna. So he had so many visions, supernormal visions. So when he heard many of them, he said, whether it is true, or is it because of the mental weakness, or is there any mental psychological problem because of that all these visions or whatever. Even Swami Vivekananda himself, as a young Naren, the chief disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, he doubted. And not only that, so many people in those times who lived during Sri Ramakrishna, they branded Sri Ramakrishna as a madcap. He has become mad. He has lost his balance of mind in the name of the God. This is one side, and in the name of God, so many superstitions, so many wrong practices, wrong concepts, wrong ideas do exist, and it was existing, and it is existing. Probably it will also exist. So to remove all these misconceptions, Swami Shardanand is discussing about all this. Whatever the about bhava, about samadhi, about darshana and all. Now you see, because we all undergo the education system. In the education system, there's a particular way of training, and we undergo a particular type of methodology so that we understand maths, we understand science, physics, chemistry, biology, botany, zoology, or whatnot. But when I say pure mathematics, pure science, how many of us we can really understand? How many of us really can appreciate? No. Sin theta by cos theta is equal to 1. Some problem we have heard, how to probably work out, we know by hearing and by understanding and by practicing. But what does it mean by called sine, what by cosecant, or theta means what is that mathematical implications, and what is the significance of all these things? If anyone asks us, definitely most of us we will not be able to tell, because we know about applied science, we don't know about pure science. Similarly with every subject or everything. Now for that you need a special interest and special understanding, we need special study, we need, and basically a bent of mind has to be developed. Then only you can start thinking about all these things. Say for an example, even in any for an example, even in the literature. For an example, in a week before I was reading an article. A person beautifully he has tried to decipher the language of the Indus civilization, Harappa and Manzadaro Indus civilization, which is many people have tried, no doubt, but he has come more scientifically. And for that, he has studied Chinese language development, Japanese language, European languages, USA, so many other places, how the languages have developed, he has learned. And by all that basis of that, he is able to tell how the Indus Valley civilization language has been developed and what it means and etc. Now, even when I was trying to read an article, some places I was feeling a bit heavy or more. Why? Because that bent of mind is not there for all of us. So similarly, Swami Shardanji says that one has to develop the bent of mind for even spiritual life also. For that, we need a pure mind. We need detached mind. We need disciplined mind. Purity, detachment, and discipline. These are the three hallmarks of spirituality or spiritual person. One who has developed this, definitely he or she can have spiritual experiences, spiritual visions. And Sri Ramakrishna tells very clearly, even today, God can be experienced, he can be verified, or it is verifiable. So religion is not the bundle of dogmas or practices or rituals New Year, but rather, it can be practiced even today and it can be verified. This is what we can see in Sri Ramakrishna's life. Now, and while discussing, Swami Shardananji, based on Sri Ramakrishna's teachings, he makes a wonderfully interesting comment that don't hanker over miracles or behind miracles. Now, in some religions, if you do miracle, then only you are called saint, he or she. But now, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, or Sri Ramakrishna is teaching that don't hanker over miracles behind miracles. Why? It makes your mind weak. And miracle cannot be the test for one's spiritual progress or for spiritual personality. Because you can get occult powers. By doing a special sadhanas, one can get occult powers. That doesn't mean that he is spiritually oriented person or spiritually progressed person. Then what is the true sign of spirituality? Renunciation, faith, and strength of character are the real signs of the spirituality, he says. Now, before understanding the concept of avatara, I would like to give few important things. Now, There's a unique concept in Advaita Vedanta non-dualistic philosophy which is called Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means one who has one who is liberated while living in this body. A person doing a lot of sadhana, he experiences that I am the self. I am not the body, I am not the mind, and I am the self, indestructible self. One who not only understands, one who experiences, and one who gets liberated while living in this body is called Jivan Mukta. Okay. And there's a one more type of mukti is called Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti means I did a lot of sadhana and I've developed renunciation, I've developed detachment, I've developed purity of mind and good amount of spiritual practices I did, but I died. While I mean, there was no liberation. But because of my spiritual progress and punya or whatever, good merits, then I go to Brahmaloka. In the above world, particular world, above world, I go. There, from there, after some time, I will get liberation. This is called Krama Mukti. And one more type of mukti, liberation is called, one is Jivan Mukti, Krama Mukti, the third is Videha Mukti. Videha Mukti means I have done a lot of sadhana at the time of death. At the time of death, I realize who am I. Either I realize who am I or I experience God. I experience God and die, then I'm liberated. This is called Videha Mukti. Deha Videha. Vigatam Deha. One who lost the body. Means he had to born. Now the person who attains Jivan Mukti or Krama Mukti or Videha Mukti, all these either one, anyone can be attained is possible for the Jiva Kotis or for the ordinary beings. For ordinary beings, either of them, either among three, one can attain. Now, there are called special types of beings, VIPs, VVIPs, and all we say. So, there are VIPs. So, VIPs are considered into two categories. One is Adhikarika Purusha, and the other is Ishvara Koti or Nitya Muktas. So we are all Jiva Kotis. We, because of our prarabdha karma, because of our past actions results, we take birth, we do sadhana, and we die. And before dying, or while living in the body, or after the death, or at the time of death, we attain liberation. Now they're called Adhikarika Purusha, and Sankhya and Patanjali Yoga calls Prakrutilaya Purushas also. Adhikarika Purushas these are the persons commissioned by God. So, which is nearer to some of the philosophy, and Sri Ramakrishna clearly tells that Avatara comes under the Adhikarika Purusha, actually. So, these are the people who are commissioned by God, who descend on the earth for a particular mission, for a specific purpose. They have nothing to attain. They are already liberated souls, but they descend on this earth to do a specific mission, divine mission, and they leave. So, these are called Adhikarika Purushas or Prakrutilaya Purushas. So they are all incarnations and more or less prophets also comes under this category. And there are second category called either Ishvara Koti or Nitya Mukta. Ishvara Koti or Nitya Muktas also, they are also ever liberated souls, but they descend on this earth. They don't get attached to this world and its afflictions or the desires or whatever. They help in the divine mission of the prophet or the incarnation. So these are called Ishvara Kotis or Nitya Muktas. Now, Sri Ramakrishna belongs to this Adhikarika Purusha. Now you may understand why did I bring all this, history or a background. And interestingly, in the Brahma Sutra, Adhikarika Purusha reference is there. In the Brahma Sutra, Yavat Adhikaram Avastitihi Adhikarikanam. So in the Brahma Sutra 3.3.32, so regarding there's a reference of Adhikarika Purusha, and in the Sankhya Yoga, in the Sankhya philosophy, Prakrutilaya Purusha has been discussed. In Tantras and in some Puranas and in Bhagavata Purana, this Ishvara Koti and Adhikarika Purushas are also discovered. Now, and interestingly, Sri Ramakrishna, after staying in that Bhava Mukha or in the Bhava Samadhi, after Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he understood two things very clearly for him. Though once in a while he was aware of it, we get the glimpse in his life, but there he gets a clear understanding about himself. What is that? The master had the conviction that he is an incarnation of God, an Adhikarika Purusha. And I think in the second book, volume chapter 21, this has been clearly told by Swami Shardanji. That master had a clear conviction that he is an incarnation of God, he is an Adhikarika Purusha. And all his spiritual practices is done only for the sake of the humanity and to show the people how one can reach the God. And interestingly, regarding Ishvara Koti, Aurobindo, in his integrated yoga, he makes a beautiful comparison or a beautiful. What is that? A Jiva Koti, he travels from matter to mind and mind to self. So he ascends from matter to mind and mind to self and he stays. He cannot come, he cannot descend. Whereas Ishvara Kotis, of course, Prakriti Purushas are also included there. So from they can ascend to the divinity and they can descend also. Ascend and descending is possible for the Ishvara Kotis and not for the Jiva Kotis. So this is what we have to be very clear. And these Ishvara Kotis are the special pillars for the huge prayer hall. It has been told by the Aurobindo in the integrated yoga. Now, one more point probably I would like to tell is there is this Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Invariably, it is a Vedantic concept, but yoga also has got this Samadhi, definitely. Now, though there are different expressions and different explanations about all these things, so in the Vedanta, the Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the pinnacle of a spiritual practice. So whatever the practice we do, once we reach the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that means there is nothing else to be achieved. That's what our scripture says. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi, what happens? In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, for an example, now I am talking. So when I am talking, I am aware that I am talking. So I am the speaker, the speech, and the act, all the three I am aware. Or for an example, I'm experiencing a music. So I am the experiencer. And the object of experience is what? Music. And there is an experience, the act. Experiencer, experience, and experienced. So I am aware of all these three things at a time, most of the time. Now in the Samadhi, the experiencer, experience, experienced, all the three dualities gets merged, gets dissolved, and there will be only the experiencer. Means now I am experiencing the bliss. When I say there is a difference between me and bliss, actually there is this maybe very short, maybe very thin difference, maybe, or very it may be very near, but still there is this duality. But in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, all these dualities is just to exist. That is why it is called non-dual experience, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is what we understand from the scriptural point of view. Interestingly, Sri Ramakrishna mentions there are different types of Nirvikalpa, experiences even in the Samadhi. And probably it's a figurative language, he uses like this. Narada has seen the ocean of existence from a distance and he returned. So for example, we have got to Pacific Ocean from maybe 50 meter or 100 meter. I saw that and I came back. I didn't get into water because cold and I fear of water. So just I saw the Pacific Ocean from 100 meters and I returned. So like Narada experienced the ocean and he returned, it seems. And Shuka Muni, where we in Veda Vyasa's son, and in Bhagavatandal, his reference comes, he's a Brahmagnani, born Brahmagnani, he's been told. Sri Ramakrishna says he has touched 3 times this Sachidananda Sagara. Means he has touched Pacific Ocean, say for example, like that. He has touched 3 times this ocean of existence. And Shiva, of course, it is a figurative language. We should not take it literally. Otherwise, the followers of Shiva may come and argue with me that he has taken 3 times, 3 handfuls of water he drank and he fell unconscious. So that means there are different gradations in the experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. For this commentary can be Swami Brahmanandaji's statement that once you experience Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the real religion starts. Here you will get probably a commentary from Swami Brahmanandaji's statement. So observing non-dual consciousness is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. For Jiva Kotis, once you go to the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, no more coming back. In 21 days, as Sri Ramakrishna says, in 21 days, just like a dry leaf, your body falls off. For Jiva Kotis. Ishvara Kotis, they can go and come, and for Avatara Purushas also, they can go and come at any time. And this is what the Advaita Vedanta point. Now, in the yoga, in the samadhi, there is called Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa. And in the Nirvikalpa, Sabija, Nirbija, Savitarka, with Nirvitarka, all there are different types of discussions are there in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But interestingly, for them, it is a temporary state where the attachment between the Purusha and Prakriti gets away. So in the Vedanta, it is a merge actually, it is a unison, it is a unison. And whereas in the yoga, it is a detachment. The Purusha gets detached from the Prakriti, and the Purusha understands that who is he, and he gets detached from the Prakriti. And after Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he may come down. So it is not a permanent state, it is a temporary state for the yoga school actually. But some of them they say, no, it is not so, it is a permanent state, some people also say. And interestingly, now, so this is all of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So now Sri Ramakrishna used to go to Nirvikalpa Samadhi and used to come back. Swami also used to go and used to come back because as a Ishvara Koti, or you can say Adhikarika Purusha. Brahmanji used to go and come back. All these things we know. And now the interesting point here is, one goes to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he will be not be able to come back from Jivakoti point of view. Only Lord or prophets or incarnations can go and come. That we know from scriptural point. But there are different grades of non-dualistic experience. Till now, we had not understood. There was no clear mention, and there is no clear definition and explanation till Sri Ramakrishna's advent. So Sri Ramakrishna's teachings, how it can be searchlight for the scriptures, is what very beautiful here. Like this, so many spiritual practices. Now Rama also might have done spiritual practices. Krishna also might have done. He's Yogeshwara Krishna. He also has done, because he used to be in the yoga sthiti, in a dhyana sthiti, or in the yoga nidra and all we hear. But what was the spiritual practices he did? There are no mentions or recordings. Similarly with even Christ, from the in between for 16 years, from 16 to 32, say more or less, for 16 years, the Christ life is completely dark. Some say that he came to Tibet, some say that he came to Nepal, some say he came to India, the northern part of India, and he practiced Buddhism, yoga, and all. See, anyway, it is a mystery basically. So what sadhana, what spiritual practice he did, we don't know. And we get glimpses from different saints actually. But first time in the history of in the spiritual history, in the history of the world religions, that Sri Ramakrishna as being an incarnation, what all the practices he practiced, and what were the different type of experiences he had, different mental states he had, all these things are beautifully narrated and beautifully recorded, and that can be the wonderful pathfinder for all of us. Now, Savikalpa Samadhi. Now, in the Savikalpa Samadhi, this is again one more contribution of Sri Ramakrishna, and especially from Swami Shardanandji's interesting contribution is Swami Brahmanandji, Holy Mother Sharda Devi, Sri Ramakrishna, all of them they say, in this Kali Yuga, Annagata Prana, because our body is so weak and depends on food and all, like earlier ages, we cannot do a lot of penance. So you cannot do Hatha Yoga and you cannot do very severe austerities. So then, how to attain God? How to have the Kundalini, awakening of Kundalini, if you ask? Then they say, you practice bhakti. You practice path of devotion, by that Kumbhaka itself is attained. Kumbhaka means the equilibrium in your breathing and Kundalini Shakti awakening. All these things is possible. We hear the statements from Swami Brahmanji, Holy Mother, and Sri Ramakrishna. Now, Swami Shardanji, while discussing the Savikalpa Samadhi in the second chapter, he brings all these things. Now he brings first about the bhava. All of us, we have got thoughts, we have got feelings, we have got emotions. Now these thoughts, feelings, and emotions, either it can be connected with people, it can be connected with the likes and dislikes. If I like someone, I have got a love feeling. If I don't like someone, then I have got a hate feeling. This is what emotions. And because of that emotions, then thoughts are also there. So they have got so many, plenty, and all of our energy is getting wasted if they are in negative in nature or in worldly in nature. Now, these bhavas, if you give the higher push, or we man is a social being, we have got a lot of relationships. So keeping the bhava and the sambandha, that is relationship, one can divinize it. So there only bhakti yoga, or the path of bhakti, brings 5 bhavas. What is that? One is Shanta Bhava. Shanta Bhava is like, I am the child and the God is mother, a mother or father, and I will worship him. So mother and son relationship. Then the second bhava, mood or an attitude, bhava here it can be taken as an attitude also, dasya bhava, that I am the servant and God is my Lord, master, God is my master. Then other one is vatsalya bhava. Vatsalya bhava is what? I am the mother and the God is the son. God is the son. For example, Yashodha took care of Krishna, Mother Mary took care of Christ like that. And the other is Madhura bhava. Madhura bhava is the aspirant may be male or female, but generally they consider themselves as a female and the God himself as a husband, and himself or herself as a wife, and that's the relationship. And it is practiced in Christianity also, Hinduism also. And Sakhya Bhava is friendly relationship. The God is my friend actually. So these bhavas, if it is very intensely practiced, either one, generally one is only possible for us. Other times, at different times, we may practice these things at some point of time, but we have to take one bhava as a strong, whichever according to one's own nature, we have to strongly practice and we have to establish a relationship. Unfortunately, these things, most of us, we don't take it seriously. How to deepen our relationship with the God? How to feel the presence of God? How can I think him? How can I think about him time and again? We all get this question. Now, here is the answer. So start practicing, start applying one bhava with oneself, whichever you like. After some time, if you feel other bhava is better, you may do it. After making some experiments in due course of time, we will understand this bhava is suitable for me more, and you will start practicing that bhava seriously. So if you intensify your bhava, once the bhava with us, then what happens? The relationship between me and God will be established strongly. Once that is established, the quality of our spiritual life, the quality of our spiritual practice, and the quality of our meditation, devotional practices, everything will be intensified, can be intensified. Okay, this is one thing. And these bhavas, when it gets strong, what happens? Now, here, interestingly, Shardanji brings a beautiful analysis, actually, very scientific and rational and psychological. Now, this bhavas includes emotions and thoughts. Whatever the thought produces an effect in our brain, or the thought create an impression, basically. The impression, the sum total of impression, because of that impressions, it works as a catalyst force to perform some actions, and actions create results, which is called karma phala, and they are nothing but one is results, the other is again impressions. The sum total of these results or the sum total of these impressions is nothing but character or personality. These things we have discussed in detail in Karma Yoga, Swami Vivekananda's Karma Yoga. So now bhava started and it connected with the personality. The bhava is nothing but thought. Thought creates an impressions. Impressions will act as a catalyst force to perform actions. Actions produce impressions and the karma phala, and it is nothing but character and personality. That is the one side. The other side, this bhavas, when it intensifies, then what happens? When this bhava, when it has been intensified, then our thoughts and emotions are getting purified. Our conception about the reality, conception about the God, conception about the world becomes better and becomes clearer. Then our spiritual life gets deepened. Then what happens? Swami Shardanji says, your Kundalini Shakti gets awakened. This is a very interesting point which Swami Shardanji discusses. So through Bhakti Yoga, how one can do Kundalini Yoga or Kundalini awakening, Swami Shardanji is telling. So one need not to do pranayama, one need not to do Hatha Yoga practices, Mula Bandha. I'm not saying that you should not do that. Even there is no necessity. By doing devotional path of devotional practices, one can awaken Kundalini, Swami Shardanji discusses. Okay. Now, for most of us, one bhava we can take, and to get established in one bhava, it may take few lives for all of us. Now, you can see if you Bhairavi Brahmini, who was very good at all the scriptures, and she came and she made to practice Sri Ramakrishna's 64 tantric sadhanas, and Sri Ramakrishna in no time he finished. And but Bhairavi Brahmani was not established in all the bhavas, but whereas Sri Ramakrishna got established in all the bhavas. So for a common person, how much ever is an advanced soul in spiritually, a common person, he can establish in one bhava more, maybe in one or two little, but in one bhava predominantly will be able to establish. And if he can reach to the pinnacle, then he'll be a realized person, and that is more than enough. Now, in Sri Ramakrishna, if you see, all the five bhavas was equally, completely manifested, which is called Mahabhava. I think I'll be taking this idea probably in the next class. Let me see. Now, I'm giving an introduction to this Mahabhava. So, if you see the history again, Chaitanya, Radha, and Sri Ramakrishna, only in these three people we can see the manifestation of the Mahabhava. So with all of us, it is only Bhava will be there, but whereas in Sri Ramakrishna, it was in Mahabhava. So this is also again one more test, one more what do you say, point or one more on thing which we can discuss and decide why Sri Ramakrishna was called as an incarnation. It was not just mere faith. It is not mere acceptance. It is rather, it is based on the theory or based on the rational understanding. And interestingly, if you see, Bhairavi Brahmini, after teaching 64 different type of tantric sadhanas and Vaishnava sadhanas and all, when Totapuri came, and when Sri Ramakrishna started practicing Advaita Vedanta sadhana, Nirvikalpa Samadhi experience also, Bhairavi Brahmani started saying that don't go there, don't go to that Nangta. Nangta means naked. Don't go to that naked because Totapuri is to be naked. Why? Oh, because he is teaching Advaita Vedanta. So what? It is dry. Advaita Vedanta is dry, it makes you dry, so your bhakti, your bhava, your bhakti, devotion gets away, loses. So don't go there, be careful. So her understanding was limited in nature again. No, same thing with the Totapuri. He had experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi, we say, and for 40 years it took. And Sri Ramakrishna's case, it was just 3 days. And Shriram and Totapuri used to make a fun about the Bhakti Yoga and Bhakti Yoga practices. When Sri Ramakrishna used to sing Mother Kali's bhajans and when he used to clap, and he used to make a joke, oh, are you pressing chapatis or rotis or pancakes? Means, so he was also unable to understand the path of devotion or other things. But in due course of time, Totapuri understood how that's how Sri Ramakrishna fulfilled his guru's sadhana. His sadhana was got culminated. Similarly, even Bhairavi Brahmani sadhana was also culminated. Both of them, they came as gurus to teach Avatara Purusha. In return, Avatara Purusha, he culminated their sadhanas by correcting them or by teaching the right things. Yeah. Now, these bhavas create samskaras and it is a tremendous energy and it has to be properly regulated and properly channelized. That's why you see in the spiritual path, we get easily emotive. And when we do bhajans and when we get intensified, our mind goes so easily, or comparatively, I mean to say, it goes above, no doubt. But afterwards, if you don't handle it, then mind comes down and it collapses. It can go a bit more down comparatively, and there will be a lot of other problems. Now, here if you see why Sri Ramakrishna was called as an incarnation, because he was able to practice and manifest all these bhavas in an equal manner completely. And apart from that, now he has got again wonderful experiences which has been recorded. What is that? Through all these sadhanas, his Kundalini Shakti was awakened. Okay, and Kundalini Shakti was awakened, and every Kundalini Shakti, each state, what he experienced, it has been recorded. And till what state, if you go, there will be coming back or coming down the Kundalini Shakti, and after going, especially Agna Chakra, he says, if you go to between eyebrows, above that, then there will be Samadhi, there will be no more coming back until come to Vishuddha. If the Kundalini Shakti comes to Vishuddha, then Kundalini Shakti will not come down itself. So all these experiences is beautifully recorded. And also apart from that, when the Kundalini Shakti rises, how it rises? It can rise like an ant, it seems. It can rise like a frog. It can rise like a monkey. And there are different types. Of course, in scriptures, we get all these. And Sri Ramakrishna had all these experiences. So he testified, he verified all the scriptural teachings. So that's why in the beginning itself, I said Sri Ramakrishna's life was an spiritual laboratory. So he verified, he experimented his own life with all the spiritual sadhanas, and he showed to the world that all the spiritual sadhanas which has been given by our forefathers or by our rishis, it is not mere speculations. It is possible for every one of us to practice and to experience it, provided whatever the terms and conditions apply. So whatever has been told in the scriptures, conditions, I mean, to prepare one's own body, one's own mind, one's own attitude, whatever we are supposed to prepare, if we prepare, definitely we'll be able to experience. So Sri Ramakrishna assured to the society and to the world at large, God can be verified and God is verifiable. It is not mere speculation. So next week, probably regarding his Kundalini experiences and a few other things I shall try to discuss. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.